Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. This is John. This report is for February the 28th. One more day, an extra one for February coming up before it's finished. You can see we're moving back towards the ABM yellow, right in that middle range between the 176%, which exactly what was expected, moving in, to fill in back some of the big increase. We can see big move of shorts. Not a whole lot of dip here of the magenta, but it is crossed below yellow potentially to start the day. We'll see if that continues. There should be enough to support at the ABM yellow at this particular stage, but we did develop that DOC spread. Not too dramatic. Usually when you get that strong spike where there's a clear, broad opening is when you get your most significant kind of decay, but in this particular case, when we're still so far above the 76%, you just have to follow the ABMs. Break below yellow, obviously you can be short, but above that, I think you're just still looking at continuation moving through. So you just continue to follow the readings as they go. The move of the magenta below 25 would be a much more significant breakdown um, than any other real significant reading. And of course, there's just plenty of positive extremes that will need to be filled going back to all these different levels. Not at this particular stage. Something significant would have to happen news-wise or event-driven that would cause such a thing. At this particular point in Q, slightly behind. You can look at this big difference here. So, where the NQ had been the leader and continues to be the leader, it's both leader up and down. And in this particular case, we've got MBI White making a strong move. So you've got quite a bit of short activity developing in there, but not a whole lot of strength in that DOC spread, and that's just giving it pretty much that same fill back in place that you're seeing from the S&P as well. So it's just more a little bit of soft continuation. They're just going to test, how much supply is available, particularly prior to coming into the new month and new fund money coming in that. But from a treasury standpoint, again, the bond market is going to come to that realization, particularly as it watches oil. They're still way out of line with what the current reality is and or what the projections going forward are. You're not going to see the Fed do anything to the negative side with oil at these levels. It just isn't going to happen. And I think that that's an important thing to keep an eye on, because without that understanding, people are just going to be looking at expectation of what might happen, and that isn't going to be significant. You're also looking at a situation like the VIX and stuff like that have started to rise as the potential for danger grows, but hasn't impacted the market at this particular stage. And we've talked about this when the euro, of course, making these erratic moves higher, but no justification for it whatsoever. It's just an indication, but it helps when the euro's rising. It improves S&P, so you get a bonus move within the market. Because we obviously have global trade situations. From a gold standpoint, the softness there is interesting, relatively uncalled for. Inflation is still going to be rising at a significant pace, and this is the difference between the maturity of gold versus where you have your crypto market. And this can again create more excitement, so it's more of a drain against gold in that, because you have the excitement building of obviously the limited supply of the Bitcoin, the halving coming up, and it's a great alternative to the risk exposure of the market at this particular stage. So having their portion in there, and as you're approaching all-time highs again, it's that time of year. ETH had been outperforming recently, but Bitcoin is going to be catching up within that range. So it's all good from a crypto stance. I mean, you can see that it's just been a continuous inflow. And this is all related to the ETF situation and the ability to move. And a lot of the big jump, though, was a huge short liquidization that took place in Bitcoin in particular, that from some of the hedges that were taking place. And, this is the same situation we see in the market. Shorts get trapped to one side, forces a huge amount of buying. Same thing happening in Bitcoin. When that fades off, you get a little bit of a retrace within it. Here we've had the softness filling back quite a bit of these positive extremes as we come all the way back to right about in this level here, which was the original breakout move of that. So that's all pretty congruent. That gives the market the free range to turn from here, and you can see at this particular point NBI white leading but still fading, and that softness, it took the original short there. We had the bounce and new short setup within that range right there. It took the buy at 50.90. If I read that correctly, yeah. So it's going to play around within that range. I think that now you have a full reset in a lot of these situations, so it's just going to be pretty easy for Spark is all it's going to take. From an intraday standpoint, we had the big run up at the very end of the day, and that led into the post market. And what do they do at that particular stage? You test stops, and so you run the stops on the lower side of it, and you fill it back in. And it works effectively because you're always taking advantage of short-term players who are just, oh, I'll set a stop overnight, and that's what the market hunts for, runs them, takes them, and then moves on, goes back to where it was before. So we're going to continue to see that take place. So the range, I think, is still pretty good. We're getting plenty of movement within intraday, even if the broader tape isn't always going to reveal a significant move from that standpoint. It's not going to matter. As always, though, anything relevant, I will continue to post it on the Skype chat. It's a little difficult with one arm, but I'm managing as best I can at this particular stage. And of course, new indicators for March will be coming out, so be ready for that. As always, though, trade well. Have a good one.